President Trump is holding a rally in Toledo, Ohio, Thursday night. Supporters started lining up earlier for the president's first Keep America Great rally of the new year. It's also his first campaign rally as he deals with the tensions in the Middle East. And as he continues to campaign for re-election, a report by Politico has revealed that the Trump campaign is being plagued by outside groups raising tens of millions of dollars in his name and not spending much of it on 2020. Maggie Severns is a reporter for Politico covering money and in politics and joins us now. Maggie, thanks very much for being with us. Explain to us what's happening here. How are these groups raising this money? And then what are they doing with it?
Yeah, so, Trump is a huge moneymaker for the Republican Party. He is bringing in, hundreds of millions of dollars for his own reelection. And a lot of people saw that and they decided they could make a buck too. So they have started PACs and dark money groups that have names that sound kind of Trump-ish. They'll be called Keep America Great or Great America. And they start a outside political group and they say, we are raising money to help Trump's reelection. Our investigation found more than 20 of these groups, and there are probably many more. And they raise money. They've raised over $47 million from when Trump was elected through last summer, but that doesn't include the last 6 months of 2019, and it doesn't include this entire election year we have coming up. So they, can go out and raise money from donors. A lot of them are small dollar donors, people giving $20, $40 at a time, and then there's really no law governing how they spend that money. So it can go to consultants, it can go to the people running the PAC, or whatever they want.
Well, what's been the response from the Trump campaign to these groups raising money in his name?
The Trump campaign has kind of caught on. I don't know if they know the scale of the problem, but they've seen a couple of these groups because sometimes they're run by former Trump campaign officials or they're linked with other people who have kind of been in Trump world. And so a couple times earlier this year, we saw the Trump campaign actually send cease and desist letters to these organizations, which is really highly unusual for someone to send a letter saying this group is in no way affiliated with us. Please don't, please do not give money to them. And they made public statements. And those letters go on file with the Federal Election Commission. But, most donors aren't going to see those letters and they aren't going to know what's going on. So the Trump campaign has been vocal about this, but I don't think that what they're saying is really getting out there and penetrating with the people giving money to these groups.
Well, your article quotes a spokeswoman for America First, the super PAC authorized by President Trump, saying that this is also a problem for the RNC. Is this an issue that we've seen in campaigns before?
So it's an issue that we've seen in some campaigns before, mostly on the right. Ken Cuccinelli is one person. When he was running for governor of Virginia, he actually sued a PAC that was raising money in his name because he thought the PAC was committing fraud. And, these PACs, because of their First Amendment rights, they're allowed to raise money in the name of whatever they want. That's because of Citizens United, but they're not allowed to commit fraud. They're not allowed to say they will raise money, in the name of one thing and lie to the people they're raising money for. And Ken Cuccinelli filed a lawsuit from that. Alan West is another person who has problems with this. But I think the scale of what we're seeing with Trump is just way bigger than anything we've seen before.
Well, the Trump campaign raised $46 million in the fourth quarter. That's more than any of the Democratic candidates. So is this really of concern to the president's campaign?
I think it's of concern for a couple reasons. One, Trump really doesn't like the idea of anyone profiteering off of him. That's, I think, kind of a personal concern for the president. I think another thing that you have going on is that these groups, they are raising in the tens of millions of dollars. That's tens of millions of dollars that could be going to the Trump campaign and the RNC. And three, there are concerns about kind of the donor themselves. So what I mean when I say that is that if I'm a donor and I get contacted by a group that I think is the Trump campaign but isn't, and they sign me up for their email list and then I start giving them $10 a month, that's a donor that by the time the Trump campaign finds me and asks me for money, I might not actually be, give money to the real Trump campaign. So there are some concerns among Republican operatives and people that are out, affiliated with the actual campaign that the money is going to wind up getting routed, not just in the short term, but in the long term to the wrong place.
Well, we're less than a month away until the Iowa caucuses. Explain to us how much of an impact fundraising has at this stage of the race.
Yeah, well, you know, Trump does not need to go through a primary this time around, but for the Democrats, this is a really big deal to be raising money, because money is, you know, on the campaign trail, money is your political organization. It is the ads that you're putting up on television. You know, it's hiring the field organizers. You know, money obviously isn't everything, but it's for a good candidate. It helps you get your message out. It helps people understand who you are. Trump kind of famously raised less than Hillary Clinton, but became president, and that shows that he really, you know, had support. But this time around, they're taking the election and the fundraising really, really seriously. They're raising, you know, they passed the mark of having raised $100 million like this May, this June, and are just blowing through that. They're really trying to build a huge war chest, and Trump and his campaign actually think that being super organized and having a lot of money and having a big campaign is going to be really key, because when we get to next June, the Democrats will have raised, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars collectively and spent it all down fighting each other in the primary. And Trump's going to be ready to roll with a big field operation with tons of money and tons of political ads and everything that he needs to go into the general election. So that's really key to his election strategy.
Yeah, we've really seen some eye-popping fundraising numbers on the Trump side for sure. Maggie Severns. Maggie, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.